It's Rut and River.
Yes.
Correct.
R-U-T.
I rest my beard hair on it.
And then you know you're there.
Like a nice, gentle little pillow for my beard.
Right.
And then I'm all up in it.
Oh.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks.
Can I ask you, what made you guys call me up about, well, this?
It's what tickles our fancy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver is not accurate.
Man.
A guy like you, who has absolutely no clue, and I can hear it in your voice, that, I mean, you're a blank canvas. I mean, I can just start with you like from scratch.
You're going to tell me, a grown man, you're telling me what lure to use and how to fish?
You guys didn't snap your whopper plopper off either, though.
Sorry, I blew up over that.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. We are gathered around the Sonic Campfire tonight.
Oh, that was lit.
That was lit. This is Reality Outdoor Radio, where our mission is to get you in the outdoors by connecting you with the skills, people, and products you can trust.
You can trust them.
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
I'm Catfish.
What? Is that, are we not going to, can we just talk that Catfish is back?
Before.
Say hi.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I
yes.
can't.
Before we
He's
talk.
here.
Let's do it. He's here. You heard it right.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
That's good. I'm ready to talk to our guest because archery season is close.
Yeah.
It is.
But before we do that.
Stevie, can you tell us about this month's sponsor?
I'll tell you about this month's sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
This month's sponsor is Quest Hunt Co. The guys over at Quest Hunt Co. have developed the biggest and baddest white-tailed deer tournament the hunting community has ever seen.
Ooh.
This tournament's currently in 7 states, and it's now coming to Pennsylvania.
I love the Pennsylvanias.
For whitetail hunters all across the state, here's how it works. Get yourself a partner. We set this up for 2-person teams.
Got him.
Once you're signed up, you'll be competing with everyone in your state. Your team is scored on the total gross inches of your 2 best combined bucks.
Nice.
The top 10 teams per state will receive prize packages totaling an excess of $50,000.
Me and Deke are splitting a bunch of that.
The tournament culminates with a postseason banquet where all prize-winning deer are officially scored.
Right.
And if that's not enough,
Go on.
Go on.
amazing discounts from vendors across the board
Nice.
just for signing up and monthly giveaways.
Get out of town.
It's incredible. Sign up for this epic tournament. Get all the details by checking out questhuntco.com. That's questhuntco.com. Tell them Rut and River Pursuits sent you. So we're back talking about archery during Archery Month. We got Catfish here. He's back.
Just in time
Just
for
in
archers.
time. I'm excited. I'm excited to get with this week's guest, too.
I am too. Archery's going to be good this year. I believe one of the last things I said when I was on the show last was about my arm being injured.
Yeah.
And I had some work done to it, and I can actually shoot the bow. So
Really?
You're looking great, brother.
yeah, I've been shooting the bow in the yard, so I think I'm good to go for at least one more season.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Speaking of archery, who do we got with us tonight?
Our guest this week is Brady Lesher. Brady is the store manager at none other than Kinsey's Outdoors, located here in beautiful Elizabethtown.
Mount Joy.
Nice.
Mount Joy. Well, Mount Joy, Elizabethtown.
It's like
Located in none other than
The
Mount
Twin
Joy,
Cities.
Pennsylvania. The Twin Cities.
Pennsylvania Twin Cities.
Brady, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's, it's tough to get that mixed up when it's 1 mile down the road.
Mount Elizabethtown.
I have to bring that up, though, real quick. You are very spoiled sportsmen to have
Yes.
such an amazing place about a mile down the street.
If that on
Yeah.
a good day.
Yeah.
Where the stoplights are cooperating. Yes.
Some people drive for hours on end to get to a big box store that may or may not have their stuff. And I come up to Will's house and can stop at Kinsey's anytime I want on the way to the podcast. Mm-hmm. And there's everything that I ever wanted is always, you guys do great. It's always there. And it's much more, I I don't want to say user friendly because that don't make sense, but
the knowledge is there. So
it's way more personal.
The questions that it's not like it's different from being online where you have whatever you want online, but no one's going to tell you about it.
I think they literally, and I'm not jumping ahead here, but I think they do pay attention to everybody that walks in that door. Because the one time we went there, I had an orange monster in my hand.
Yeah.
And the next time we went there, the orange monsters were in the case. Like, I think they look and be like, that guy likes, let's get those.
He'll be back.
Yeah. So, anyhow, I digress. Sidebone.
So, Brady, tell us about Kinsey's and what you do there. What's your role there?
So I'm actually the general manager of Kinsey's Outdoors. We're passionate about the outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about the outdoors. So, unlike you guys, it's not in my backyard. I live in Carlisle, so
do you really?
I have a little bit of a hike. So I figured rather than being a customer and driving, that far all the time, I would just start working there. And
that makes total sense.
Smart man.
No, I've been very fortunate. I worked for Gander Mountain previous to Kinsey's, before they became Gander Outdoors.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason why they are Gander Outdoors is because they closed the doors of Gander Mountain. When they say when one door closes, another one opens, and the door was open at Kinsey's, and they welcomed me right in. One of the best parts about Kinsey's is it is family owned, and the owners make you feel like part of the family right from the get-go. Yep.
Even speaking with them when I go in there, and I'm not in there a lot, not enough to remember me, but it's wild. It's like talking to a brother most of the time at the archery counter or whatever. It's really cool how they stop and make eye contact and make you feel like you are. It's like you're part of the family.
Yeah. And that's what's very important to us. I mean, coming from big box retail, I don't want to say we didn't care about the customer, but we didn't have the right staff to care about the customer.
Really?
I mean,
Right.
at a big box store, if you had a pulse, you could get hired, and that's not a knock on anybody that works big box. It's just a reality.
Well, it's kind of cool. I mean, it is like a little bit of a training ground for people that want to go deeper in the industry. If you're the big box opportunity, Ryan started there.
Yeah.
Our Bowtech, and
I feel really bad when I go there sometimes. I mean, it's some of the big ones, and it's not maybe their company's fault. It's maybe the person that wanted to get hired there and they hired there, and maybe they're learning, maybe they're not. But it's really difficult for me to look at somebody and be humble and go, I don't need your help. I know more than you, even in your department.
Yeah,
but because sometimes I'm like, let's sit down. I'll tell you all about fishing. Like, but you sell me a fishing rod.
Go ahead and sell me that. Yeah, and it happens. It happens.
Does.
But it doesn't happen, at Kinsey's.
No.
Where, I love to go there because I'll hear about something and I'll be like, did you hear about the new whatever? And I can't, I just can't.
Well, the few times that we went and just shot bows, the new bows out, whatever, looked around, the knowledge that, and I've done this with 3 different people working the bow counter, and forgive me, I'm not good with names, but all 3 of them's knowledge was outstanding in the field of archery.
Yeah.
They just weren't working a bow counter because somebody taught them how to work a bow press. They knew what they lived it. It was in their blood.
Yeah, and that's what we strive for. I mean, we don't want to be known as a retail store. We want to be known as a pro shop. And, staffing can become challenging at times because we won't hire just anybody. We're looking for the knowledge, but then we're also looking for somebody that can fit into that family,
Right.
It's hard. It's hard to find that perfect person.
Right.
But like I said, we won't just settle. You've got to have extensive passion for the outdoors.
Sure.
And you've got to be able to mesh well with your brothers and sisters in the building.
Yeah.
And be able to offer awesome customer service. So
we're talking primarily about archery tonight, which we'll get to. But what else does Kinsey's offer?
So we're a 4-season store. So we sell firearms, we sell fishing, we sell clothing, and kayaks, and everything in between.
Yeah.
You know, that I just named the big categories, but you know, firearms accessories, archery accessories, footwear, just
live bait, tree
live bait,
stands,
tree
you name it,
stands.
it's in there.
Yeah.
Do you have different people that like is everybody like well versed in all of those, or is there different folks? Like if I go in and want to buy a kayak, is anybody's going to be able to help me with a kayak?
Kayak Timmy.
Yeah, or do you say no? I got to we'll go grab Kayak Timmy because he's the guy to talk to.
I would say
Whitewater
we
Bob.
have we have staff that are mostly versed in specialty areas.
Really?
But as a whole, we've all used the products to some degree, maybe not as extensive as others. So for basic questions, you know, most of us can help you out. But if you're looking to be like really hardcore into something, we'll usually try to get you the expert.
But
in that.
you've got someone that's an expert.
Oh, yeah.
in all those
Absolutely.
areas, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're not, you know, the other fortunate thing with being a small, great company is we've got very good relationships with most of our sales reps. So if we feel like there's an area that we are lacking in some training on certain products, you know, we reach out to them and we'll set up a session and they'll come in and give us the information we need. So
talk about that. How does that work? So how many different product lines do you offer? Like, are you?
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys
All
sell?
of
Do you gear towards one or two vendors, or is it, you know,
we have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that we do try to do, you know, as a pro shop is we try to carry quality. So, you know, we have a lot of higher end products. We don't necessarily try to keep in stock a lot of the things you'll find in a big box store. So that said, you know, we have a little bit, we try to cater to everybody, but we're really going after that quality, higher end product.
You have price points that are for everybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can grow and, you know, you can get, you know, the best of the best. And
absolutely.
Believe me, I've spent some money there making that I took that journey the last 7 years here. So
yeah, we've seen you in there a few times.
Maybe.
so like, what would be, if I'm coming in to buy a bow, where would you start? Where would you point me, in what direction?
To the rifle counter.
Assuming that I had a solid archery background.
Well, which
I don't.
The nice thing, like I said, especially on the archery side, we really, really focus on the quality. So, and anymore, your higher end bow companies are all on very similar and equal playing ground.
Really?
So, you know, even though you may come in and you may have been a Matthews guy your whole life, you know, I'll still try to grab one of each. You know, I'll grab a Hoyt, a Matthews, a Bowtech, a Bear, and I'll say just shoot them all. Just because you've always been a Matthews guy, it might not be the best feel for you.
It changes every year.
Yeah.
And I can attest to that. It changes every year.
And the technology's there in the archery world that the highest end bow companies are on a level playing field.
Yeah. So that's why, like, if somebody will ask me what I recommend, and my answer is usually like, well, let's see what feels best to you. That's what I'm going to recommend, because no matter what, you're going to get a quality product. So let's see what feels best to you in your hands.
I love that answer.
That takes time, right? It's not like you're walking in and I say, hey, what bow should I get? And you say, this is the one here.
Yeah.
Let's. So you're investing time setting up a bow, or 4 or 5 bows specifically for someone to try, and they may not buy any of them. You've sunk a lot of time.
Depending
into
on
that.
the shooter, you can literally shoot a bow that's $500,000 less better than another bow that's more expensive. Depending on the shooter, because of the way it feels.
I've talked about how I choose a bow multiple times, and
I didn't believe you until Brady said it. I didn't believe. No way someone's going to go through that.
And it's
trouble.
because of Kinsey's that I am able to do that, because you can walk into the store and see bow after bow after bow, and it's the newest bow, it's the latest bow, and they might have a carryover from last year, which you can maybe save a little bit of money on. But the bottom line is they're going to have the newest, latest, and greatest. And I like.
How many times have you bought the carryover from last year to save a couple of dollars?
0.
When you find the right bow,
I'm not that guy.
It should feel comfortable and simple. You shouldn't have to struggle to shoot a bow. It should just feel natural.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody. And the nice things with up at your shop is you have an indoor range there to let people try
multiple.
Even crossbows. You can shoot crossbows indoors if people would like to try them.
Yeah, we have a 10-yard range that's very close to where the bows are. If somebody's just trying to get a feel, we'll grab it and take it back there and let them fling a few arrows through it. And then, if they want to get more serious, then we can head upstairs to the 20-yard range.
Right.
But
how long does that process normally take? Is that like buying a car where it's going to be all day or half the day?
It can. We definitely invest some time because, everybody's a different draw length. Everybody wants to shoot a different weight. So if you're grabbing 4 or 5 bows and you want the customer to get the ultimate experience, you have to set up all 5 of those bows to the correct draw length, to whatever weight they want to shoot, and then go through the process of let's start eliminating here. And
I honestly didn't believe that really happened.
No.
I didn't like that. There's no way people really do that.
I go through the
They
whole...
just do it because it's you and you're on a podcast. And
right.
Brady does it for everyone.
No, Mikey worked with Leanna when she was buying her bows.
Yeah.
And same thing.
Same
Leanna
thing.
took a half day and just shot girl bows.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of options for women as well as men.
Yeah.
And briefly, my setup is I'll go in, and I'm shooting the bows all the time. Every time I'm in, if I hear about another bow, I want to shoot it just because of this process that Brady's now kind of getting to get to see what we do every week, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I'm always shooting this stuff, and you can.
Yeah, and to Stevie's point, it could be a slightly less time-consuming day for somebody like Will who knows how to shoot compared to a guy that's never shot before.
Yeah.
Because just to teach somebody how the basics of shooting could take quite a little bit of time before
Depending
you
on
even.
the
And a
scene.
guy like that honestly needs a pro staff like Ray, because when he says, "Does that feel good?"
Yeah.
A new person might not even know what that means. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Does it feel good? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I guess. Like, I'm just throwing arrows. To a guy that has shot his whole life, you know what feels good because you get that look in your eyes, and you're like, ugh.
If you can
that's
shoot
it.
5 or 6 bows,
Yeah.
10 bows, you're gonna know by the end that at least the first bow you get is gonna be somewhat right for you.
What do you tip a bow tech?
You always ask this question.
Yeah.
not enough, I don't think.
I think you're right there.
That's actually a very good question. People should start to do that more often.
You need to get like a jar. Or
Love your bow tech.
Love your bow tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do it for that. It's for us. It's keeping people interested, keeping people passionate. Because if this sport dies, then we die with it. So,
Yeah. Well, talk about that a little bit. Let's move into archery in Pennsylvania. Archery as a whole. What do you see is going on with our sport?
It's a tricky sport. I mean, from the actual sport itself, I mean, we actually see archery license sales increase.
Yeah.
But then from a retail perspective, we actually see the archery business, as far as the products are concerned, on the decline. And, I attribute that mostly to the technology.
Yeah.
We hit a barrier years ago, and it's just been very tough to overcome that. I mean,
300 feet per second.
Yeah. I mean, you hit that 300 feet per second mark.
Well, when
they're all quiet.
Matthew came out with a solo cam. It was literally like a pyramid. It was like everybody was trying, and then this solo cam technology came out back when I remember. And when you could start Robin Hooding and knocking arrows at will at 10 yards and then shooting, with a hunting bow, 590s at 20 yards, it was stupid.
Yeah.
And then so that solo cam went for a decade in different ways. And now there's so many variations that came from that technology, in my opinion, that so you buy a bow today, it's tough to get a guy to buy a bow because you don't need another bow for 10 years. I mean,
Yeah, there was a time when, the hardcore archery hunter was buying a new bow every single year, whether they needed it or not.
Really?
But now, the prices aren't getting any less and the technology isn't changing significantly. So there hasn't been, there's some guys like me, I'll buy a new bow every year no matter what.
Sure.
But some guys just aren't feeling the need to, it's they shoot the new ones and they say, oh, it doesn't feel any different than what I have now, and it's tough.
I think probably for the more casual guy, that might be hunting 2, 3, 4 times a year. That's
things go in spurts though. Something will break free. There'll be a new,
it's got to eventually,
and then it'll start all new stuff.
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not unheard of because 15 years ago, if somebody would have said my bow shoots 300 feet per second, they'd have laughed at you. It wasn't something that could happen.
Yeah.
In general, though, it sounds like archery is growing.
The sport, absolutely. We'll see an increase typically from year to year from the archery tag sale itself.
Okay.
So it means. A lot of times our overall license sales aren't growing, but the archery tag specifically is. And that means, some people that hunted in the past may not have archery hunted, now they are.
Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of that, I believe, to the crossbow. There's a lot of hunters now that never picked up a vertical bow before, and now they legalize crossbows, and it's, now I'm going to give it a shot. And so, I know there's a lot of mixed emotions. You can talk to 100 people and get a lot of different responses.
99 responses.
Yeah.
But that one guy that won't look at you for bringing it up.
Yeah. But it has been important to the growth of the industry. Yeah. So
I think a lot of cool things too with archery right now is it's cool and hip for I see a lot of young kids shooting leagues and take away the hunting aspect of it as far as the archery sport in general goes is, correct me if I'm wrong, up at Kinsey's, don't you guys have a league shoot as well?
Yeah. We do a winter Techno Hunt league. Yep. And then we do mostly everything we have is indoor, and it's all based around the target world, but a lot of times that's a start for people. They get a bow in their hand. They may not have ever thought they wanted to hunt, but they get a bow in their hand and they see how much fun it is, and it starts off as I'm just going to shoot some paper targets and keep score, and now now I want to kill something. So,
yeah, you get the confidence, you get the reps in, that fun level with say like a Techno Hunt. It's fun to do. Yeah. So you're going to get the reps in that you probably wouldn't do, if you didn't have that video game. Yeah. So that's the cool part, and you can grow. Leanna loves it, and she's not an archer for hunting. She'll bow fish or different things like that, but she's not a traditional hunter. So. But she loves the Techno Hunt, and she loves it. She's very competitive with that, as you might know.
No, I've never seen her rub it in your face when she beats you week to week. So,
and for our listeners that don't know what a Techno Hunt might be, if you're listening to this and don't know, it's a room where you guys shoot a blunted tip, so it's very rounded, so it can bounce off the wall. You shoot your arrows, you retrieve them, and you're actually shooting at a movie screen type of deal with a projector, so that you can shoot at what looks like a live action in the woods shot or a prairie dog coming out of his hole. It looks like you're hunting. Yeah. And it'll keep score for you, show you where you hit. So even though you're not outside hunting, it might be raining or whatever, it's extremely cool thing to go do because first of all, it's camaraderie. And it's archery practice, and it's better. And I was a paper shooter my whole life. I shot yellow dots, my whole life. So when they come out with the Techno Hunt, it was mind blowing to me that you could do something else with a bow other than shoot 10 rings, like in 9 rings on occasion, but 10, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But when you're shooting at a mule deer and you first start doing that techno hunt stuff and they're stopping and they're starting and they're, it teaches you things. If you get a chance to go up to Kinsey's, definitely check out the Techno Hunt or look it up online right now if you don't know what it is.
When does that league start?
The league itself usually starts the first week of January.
Okay.
But we have the Techno range open all year round for just casual shooting.
I need a Techno Hunt coach. That's what I need.
Start tipping your bow tech a little bit.
Maybe I need to do a little bit better job. Yeah, for sure. That would be great. Someone I can, tell me the tips and tricks.
And even if you've been an archery hunter your whole life, don't get me wrong, I love to hunt, and archery's always been my first love, past fishing, past everything. It's, where I cut my teeth. I've been so out of the loop of technology that I can still come up to Kinsey's and still learn stuff from your pro staff guys nowadays, because if you think it's like a computer or a cell phone. If you think you know what you're doing, wait 2 years, and things are crazy. But so when we grew up, it was little tiny target wheels, really long bows, shooting giant XX75 aluminum arrows to cut lines.
Yep.
And if you ran fast enough, you could probably run faster than your arrow to get down there. But that's what cut lines and made high scores. And I go to these clubs now to visit, and I'm looking at the bows that they're shooting and going, I'm totally out of it. Like, this isn't my element anymore.
Yeah, they're Ferraris now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they went from 40 inches and tiny wheels to 30 inches and giant cams.
Yeah.
So.
They don't even fit on the old wooden bow racks that we used to build anymore. So what else other than archery? I mean, archery's right around the corner for us here in Pennsylvania, but I do want to touch base. What other for archery can we come see up at the headquarters of Kinsey's? Because I mentioned earlier, you have tree stands. Mm-hmm. Guys can go get outfitted with camouflage.
Yep.
You have stuff on the racks up there.
Yep.
Things like your rattle bags and your scents. Pretty much anything that you would need if you were a new archer to get starting into archery is up there.
Yeah, if you were brand new, you even never hunted a day in your life, we've got everything you need. From your socks to your boots to your clothing to your backpack to your scents and lures and broadheads and arrows and releases. We can get you equipped with anything you need.
And if the guys come up here with archery-related questions, this is the kind of place that I would know that you could go up and be like, okay, listen, you got me into my bow. Well, I've been up here. You sold me my bow. You got me shooting it. I got my equipment. Can you tell me what to do? Like, can you give me tips on how to track? And, like, your guys are hunters, too. So
all of our guys are hunters, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Well, let's move into talking about you a little bit now that we brought up hunting.
Okay.
How did you mentioned it, basically to work at Kinsey's, you have to have a passion for the outdoors. So how did your passion start?
So my passion started through my dad. My dad was a diehard bow hunter his entire life. Tried very hard at a young age for me to get me into it. And I'll be honest, I wasn't having it at a young age. I was an athlete, so I didn't want to invest the time into it. I was out practicing, sports, basketball, football, baseball all the time. And he took me out when I was 12 years old, and the first season he started me in was rifle season when it's so cold.
Yeah.
And, you got a 12-year-old with very little patience and wasn't enjoying.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he put you in that red itchy wool.
Oh, yeah. Not wearing the right gear, the wrong size boots, all that good stuff. And at first I hated it. I did. And, so I went my 12-year-old year, and then I was like, this isn't for me. And so I think I was 14, and I got home from school the one day, and there was this beautiful, shiny red and black Ben Pearson target bow sitting on our dining room table. and it caught my eye. And I said, "Hey, Dad, what is this?" And he's like, I bought it for your mother, thinking she would start doing 3D shoots with me.
Look away, boy.
And she wanted nothing to do with it. And I said, well, that's pretty cool. Can I take a shot with it? And of course, he, was like about dropped the bow on the ground, like fumbling around. Yeah, let me get it set up for your length and everything. And,
nice.
And got it all set up, and I started shooting it, and I took right to it, and it started with a 3D shoot the following evening.
Really?
And I went to one 3D shoot, and I said, I think I want to archery hunt. And from there,
he about fell out of his chair. But,
from there, that's been my biggest passion. I'm 39 years old. I've actually never killed a deer with anything but a bow.
No kidding.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yep. So it's what I live and breathe.
The next question is, how many deer have you killed?
Yeah, well, I only killed one. No.
Just kidding.
Hit one with the car.
No, I've been pretty fortunate and pretty successful throughout the years. And, but it's what I look forward to every year.
There's nothing like it.
No, it's not. And
unless you've lived it, you can't explain it right.
Yeah, and last year I actually went out, because normally when rifle season comes in, I still take the bow out. And there was a morning hunt I remember very vividly last year. I decided to take the rifle out. I'm up in the tree stand, and big group of does come in, and I've got this big fat juicy doe at 40 yards, broadside feeding, and I'm leaned against the tree with her in the crosshairs for about 5 minutes. And I couldn't pull the trigger because it just didn't feel right. It felt too easy, didn't feel the same, didn't feel the challenge. And so I put the safety back on and hung the gun back up and just sat and watched them.
Well, good for you.
Yeah,
some people wouldn't have that wherewithal, and that, honestly, they don't. But that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times. I feel that way whenever they have, even though I know they're old enough to live on their own. I still do that with a mom with 2 youngins with them.
Yeah,
I do that a lot in early archery season. Just I draw the bow. I smile. I know I have the shot, and I'll look down and go and get. Like, The one was pretty dumb years ago too. She kept looking at me, and I'm like, I already let the bow down. I'm like, go on, get.
I said.
Yeah, it was funny, but no, I get that. There are some times in life where it's cool just to go. I win. Go on.
Yeah. Well, what do you think it was? Being 14, what changed from being 12, not wanting anything to do with it, to being 14, and this is after a day, shooting
girls,
maybe
girls and hunt.
Could be, yeah. I just don't think you mature a lot from, even though it's only 2 years, you mature a lot from a 12-year-old to a 14-year-old, and you appreciate things differently. And and I wanted something to do with my dad, obviously, too. I mean, my dad's obviously my role model, my idol growing up. And and here I am, at 12 years old, feeling like, I disappointed him, even though he never made me feel that way.
Right.
But just to... that, and at 12 years old, I wasn't strong enough to pull a bow back.
Right.
Even he tried that, but I couldn't do it. So
they definitely didn't.
I think I maybe just didn't find it then. But then at 14, I'm bigger, I'm stronger.
Right.
I pick up this beautiful bow and I pull it back, and I'm like, this is it. Like this is what I was meant
dinosaur
to do.
today.
I don't, unfortunately.
Has that changed the draw weight for like kids' bows? Is that still the same? Like, is there something for any 12-year-old to shoot now, or do you really have to?
These manufacturers are. That is one area that I can definitely say the technology has come around.
Yeah.
It's some of these bows nowadays. I mean, you can adjust the draw weight from 5 pounds to 70 pounds,
really?
All on one bow.
You could have one bow the rest of your life.
You could essentially buy one bow and have it the rest of your life. The draw lengths will range from 18 to 30 inches.
But yes, you could.
Thankfully, there's people like Will to keep Kinsey's, shops like Kinsey's in business.
I've seen guys that go on like dull sheep and mountain goat hunts that take some of them really small Like they're smaller, easier to carry around.
Yeah.
I don't want to call them kids bows.
Yeah, it's tough.
Short axle to axle.
Yeah, and they're legitimately for smaller people.
Really?
Yeah.
But you can crank them up so much that you can go hunt with them out, in Alaska and things.
Yeah.
But they're easier to throw in a backpack and get around with.
Yep.
So when did you first kill a deer?
I was actually. It took me a few years from the time I started, and my first kill was actually an 8-point.
I thought you were going to say it took me a few weeks.
No, unfortunately, it took me a few years. Because
That's worth waiting for.
Yeah, it's worth waiting for, and it's it's a skill that you have to adapt. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the bow hunting, shot than pulling a trigger on a gun, and that's for me, like, I love a challenge, and I had several opportunities, but I always blew them, when I was younger, and then finally, sometimes it just takes a dumb buck that's in rut coming in with his head down looking for the scent, and it literally walked directly underneath my stand. I shot straight down. My very first shot with a bow was straight down.
Oh, no way.
And ran about 40 yards and dropped.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, my dad was only about 50 yards away, and immediately the radio, "You hit that hard." And he's like, "I see it down." He's like, I said, "Can we get down?" He even though he saw it drop and basically die, he
Let's wait.
taught me, "Yep, hey, let's give it a half hour." And I'm in the tree, like, losing my mind. I'm like, "Has it been a half hour yet?" And he's like, "It's been 2 minutes."
It's been 30 seconds, yeah.
So he did, to his credit. He made me wait it out, but
Good.
Which is good, because now I understand and have an appreciation for that. So, yeah.
Oh, that has to be the longest 30 minutes of your life.
It is.
The longest half
From
hour.
that moment on, you've been addicted.
Oh,
ever since.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was very lucky. I was very lucky at 12. My first year, I took a 6-point with my PSC Spirit Junior, set at maybe 39 pounds. Because, we were pushing the 40-pound minimal mark back in the day. And I was only in an 8-foot tree stand. Same thing. 6-point chasing does, come down and stood right in front of me. And I went, "Oh, look there." Remember the old the ball bearing releases?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the...
Yeah.
I released that arrow, and buck ran off, and Dad come down, blood everywhere, and as we went to go get it in, it was 3 or 4 years after that till I shot my next deer. But I would shake trying, like, I knew it would happen again, but it's kind of rough when you get your first one. I think it's the next one that bugs you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally imagine from that day when you finally got your hands on your 8-point, I'm sure archery was in your blood forever after that.
Yeah, it was great.
So were you drinking apple juice for a month and a half and like scent control everything at that time? Or?
No, my gosh, no. It's funny how much, you learn over the years. I mean, my dad makes fun of me to this day because, I'm such a advocator of scent control, but he said, "Do you remember when I used to pick you up when you were in your 20s and you'd have cologne on and everything else?"
Cool water.
I said, "Yeah, and the weird thing is I think I killed more deer then."
CK1.
Yeah.
I remember walking up to my old man. Dad taught archery. I remember walking up to him with a cigarette in his mouth in his tree stand a few times, and he still killed deer back in the day.
My dad was a smoker, and he always, I could smell it, and he'd light it up. I'd be 50, 100 yards away, and I could smell it. I'd be like, "Dad." But then next thing I know, I'd hear him shoot.
Yeah.
Were deer dumber back then, or are we just...
I think we overthink things sometimes, but no, I think to get the bigger, mature deer,
the quality of deer.
Quality of
no
deer.
one cared back then.
Back in those days, we didn't shoot. We were meat hunters.
Oh,
we
yeah,
never shot no huge bucks smoking cigarettes and, things like, the truck itself just smelled like rotten ham. We had ham sandwiches that were in the glove box and behind the seat. And, they're throwing them on the dashboard. No matter.
So you definitely care a lot more now about your scent control and
Yes.
You have what do you do? Just kind of 50,000 foot for that?
So it obviously starts before you even leave the house. Scent free shower.
Mm-hmm.
I have an ozone bag that I run my clothes through. Clothes stay in the bag until I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't completely dress before I walk out. I may walk out to the stand in my base layers,
right,
and then put my clothes on so I don't get all sweated up.
So you don't
I
sweat
have
up,
to go in my underwear, otherwise I will sweat.
especially with a climbing.
I have to get dressed in the woods. It's terrible.
With my climbing stand, I have to do that too.
Yeah.
Climbing stands kill me anymore. I'm in my early 40s, and
Yeah.
if I wore all my layers to get up there, they'd all be off hanging to try to dry them out, which doesn't
I
work
need a
well for
clothesline in the woods. Yeah. Like one of those big Amish deals with the wheel. You just reel them out there.
She could set one of those up.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
The mountain.
Probably won't kill a big buck on it.
They'll just think they're in a
Can we ask
suburban area.
Isn't there a question from
Andy Spittle?
It's from Andrew Spittle. I don't understand his writing, but on a nice,
Bless his
beautiful
heart.
day, nice Saturday, mid-October, beautiful weather, most perfect day on the mountain ever.
It sounds like he's writing a haiku.
It is. There's deer running everywhere, tails wagging in the wind. Would you rather be bow hunting in your stand or holding a softball bat?
Oh.
You touched base on this a little bit earlier as you were young. So.
Oh my goodness, that is a very tough question because that's battling two of my most passionate sports.
Really?
Oh yeah. Every year when the fall softball league rolls around, I have to make a choice, and I usually figure out a way to do both.
Yeah.
I'd love to answer that. Well, I'm going to go hunt in the morning and kill something and then go to my softball game. But in that situation, I would definitely be in a tree stand.
Would it?
Yeah.
There you go, Spittle.
There you go, Andy. Yeah. Is it hard to work in the outdoor industry and hunt and pursue that passion as well?
It's hard to work in the outdoor industry as a whole because you don't have much of a paycheck left whenever you leave for the day because it's like a 12-year-old working in a candy store.
Mm-hmm.
It's you walk past, you're just trying to get from point A to point B in the building,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk past something and you're always thinking, I could use that. I wonder what my supply on that looks like. Oh man, we just bought in this gun. Oh my goodness! So it's tough. It's fun. It's rewarding, but it's tough too.
I always we like to joke. There's a good year to 3 years where you're buying everything every time you pass a shelf or whatever. You're buying everything just to get caught up.
Yep.
And then about year 3 or 4, it's all obsolete. So you have to start all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we love to joke about that, but it's real,
Yeah.
Or you grow out of it, or you just whatever. It's just, it's a crazy process.
I'm the same though too as what Will just said, but I'm a stickler for my old camo. I like the more worn out my camo gets and the more I have to stitch it up, the more I love it.
It's a point of pride. Yeah.
It does. It becomes a part of me. You remember our dads and our grandpas and stuff that wore them old Woolrich and old orange hats.
Yeah.
They weren't orange anymore. They were faded yellow.
Yeah.
And they had blood stains on them, blah, blah. Those guys had... I don't know how they stayed out in the harsh winters with the crappy boots they had back in those days.
My gosh.
Insulation was literally it was just like foam.
Non-existent.
Yeah, it wasn't really good
It was
stuff.
bread bags.
Yeah.
We put bread bags over
Plastics.
But they were the same way. They would wear their same outfit their whole life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Didn't matter what it was.
I think my dad still has the same camos when he took me when I was 12 years old.
Yeah, you had to be somewhat tough to handle it. Even now, it as good as the clothing and the layers and the, a lot of us have to worry about sweating and getting cold. It's still harsh. It's still real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't spend enough money to figure out, how to be comfortable 100% of the time.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have enough money.
Yeah, and that's just part of the fun and the challenge. I think that's as much as what we like to complain about that sometimes. If we didn't truly deep down enjoy it, I don't think we would be out there as much. So
My dad used to tell me that too. But you think about it. So picture your yard. You're very familiar with your backyard and your front yard. You're trying to get one over on an animal in his domain, a buck in his domain. So you're in your yard.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to come up here and try to hide somewhere in your yard with nothing in front of me so that I could still make an A to B shot to you without you noticing me in your own yard. You're there every day. So like the hide in your bushes or your tree or on your porch, it's very difficult because they know everything.
Yeah.
They know. And if we could smell like a whitetail, I wish I could smell like a whitetail. Maybe not so much working in the hospital, but hiding from them's tough enough, and I believe that scent control is extremely important.
That dude smell like a whitetail?
Yeah. That's going to be the clone for next year.
Yeah.
Smell like a whitetail.
Yankee Candle whitetail.
That's right.
So, are you ready for archery season?
I'm
That's
not
a hard question.
I'm not as prepared as what I normally am, and it's that's working in retail, and especially retail
You've
management.
got to be the last person that you take care of. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And
what's your batting average this year?
It's all because of softball practice.
Yeah, still hitting the ball well, but
there we go. Okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean, obviously it's my biggest focus right now. Any free minute I get, the bow's in my hand, and just tuning and starting to get the clothes in the wash, and just it's on the mind for sure.
Sure.
Can you go shoot at lunchtime?
I was going to ask the same question.
Yep. Yes, we can.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Brady, before we let you go, we're bumping up on time here.
Oh my God!
Already, what a fast!
That was
what a fast hour. Yeah. Before we let you go, there's 5 questions we ask. We call them the Fast 5.
Some people can't get that right. They call it the Fab 5.
The Fab.
Some
I've heard
folks
it
call
called
it the
the
Fab
Fab.
5. The official term is fat.
Yeah.
I almost did it.
The Fab.
The Fast 5.
Fabulous five.
Okay.
And so these are 5 questions we're going to ask, and you just kind of rattle off the first answer that comes to mind. No, there are no wrong answers.
Okay.
But we'll tell you if they are.
We'll tell you if one of them's wrong.
Okay.
So, all right. So question number 1. What is one thing you can't live without in the outdoors?
My bow.
Nice.
Easy. I should have seen that coming.
Like a fastball.
Could have predicted that when you said it. Number 2, what's your favorite movie?
Fast and the Furious.
Really? Which one? Number 19? 19's my favorite.
I love the whole series, but you can't beat the original.
No, you can't. You're right.
Yeah, very cool. You never had me. You never even had your car.
The granny shift and not double clutching like you should.
Now me and the mad scientist got to go back to the lab. Anyway.
Question number 3.
What is one thing you do daily to prepare for your outdoor lifestyle?
Oh, man. That is a very good question.
Don't read too much into this, because I can think of about 100 things you do daily.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably the biggest is going to work. I mean, that's where I get all my information.
You have an unfair advantage there.
Keeping up with the industry is probably not as easy as it might sound.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, even being in a building where that's all we eat, sleep, and breathe every day. I mean, there's just so many new and up and coming, manufacturers, and it's a lot to keep up on.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'd say it wasn't even as obvious as what I thought there for a second, but just coming to work. Coming to work is how I prepare. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a good answer.
What's on your bucket list? This can be a bucket list hunt, bucket list softball
game,
yeah, whatever.
on Jupiter.
Softball hunt. Kill a deer with a softball bat.
Down the road, that'll be a thing.
I know. I mean,
Primitive weapons.
Got my softball tag.
It'll be in it'll be in January, probably. Late season.
I actually have three things that I can quickly rattle off on my bucket list. One is a Pope and Young whitetail. I've actually, I went from being the traditional PA hunter that I always was, of killing the first legal buck that came by, to I actually haven't shot a buck in 5 years because I've been holding off. Really? I've been told the only way you're going to get that is to let the smaller ones walk. So
that's not true.
So I've actually been holding off. So a Pope and Young whitetail, a do-it-yourself elk hunt.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I want to kill a pronghorn, an antelope.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
And a 9-second car.
In a 9-second car. Yeah.
It's nobody's car. Put it on the rec time. We've never seen that movie.
Oh, my.
Last one here. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy is just I've been blessed, not a lot of people have the ability to wake up every morning and enjoy going to work.
Yeah.
Coming from an outdoor family, I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that probably would enjoy and love hunting and will never get the opportunity because they weren't brought up in it. So
they might not even know.
Yeah. So just being brought up in that atmosphere and now being able to live what I breathe, it's, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Nah, that's for sure.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, Brady, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here, coming in studio, which is kind of rare for us to have someone come in. We love it whenever that does happen. The retail store is just the tip of the iceberg for Kinsey's Outdoors, and there's so many. The parent company, then there's brands underneath that, and the retail store. So
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say it.
I mean, there's so many things that we didn't talk about, and we just ran out of time. There might be opportunities for you to come back and talk some more about it. But where can people find Kinsey's Outdoors, and how can they follow you online?
Yeah, I mean, we're at 1658 Steelway Drive in Mount Joy, right here in your backyard. We are on Facebook. We've got a Kinsey'sOutdoors.com. Twitter, Instagram, I mean, we're involved in all of that. So if you can't find us, you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah.
Come in, and go right to the bow counter. Don't buy all my minnows. They got live bait in it for me. Just letting you know.
But also do check out the social medias, because they have events constantly.
Yeah.
And it's very inclusive. There's something for everybody. Kids Day is one of the biggest events of the year. It's
my favorite.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's my favorite too. If we can't get the young guys involved again, as we all age, so does the sport if we don't get the young guys involved. So.
It seems like you guys set up a half-acre trout pond.
It's maybe not quite that big, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big.
It's not insignificant.
Yeah, we got to make it a little challenging. You know, we can't just put them in a puddle. So
I mean, everything. You got the targets and all kinds of stuff, and the trapper people, and a lot of the other. Like Ducks Unlimited and NWTF shows up. Like, a lot of people turn out for this one singular event, and that is, again, one event. You guys do so many throughout the year. So
when is that this year?
This upcoming year, it's always the second Saturday in May, so it's usually around May 12th, 13th, 11th, whatever that Saturday will be next year. But and
please bring your kid out. They don't have to have any experience in the outdoors, and we'll help them, or they will help them rather, I just like working the BB gun game. I'm sorry. They'll help them every step of the way through every little stage and course, and
it takes him back to his carny days.
It does.
Yeah.
I miss those days. The baby goats with 4 horns were cool.
So that's guys. Again, check them out. That just you can follow Kinsey's year round, and there's going to be something for everybody. Brady, thank you so much for coming. This has just been awesome. Coming into the studio again, it's just amazing.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Really do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's been a blast.
Of course.
Thanks, bud.
Guys, before we get sent off here,
This episode was also brought to you in part by Protection First Class Outdoors. PFC lubricants protect and lubricate your firearms, bows, tree stands, and everything else in your outdoor equipment inventory. Your equipment's protected and lubricated during the season, and the deer aren't going to smell you. Come on. You know you need to get some. Head on over and check out everything they've got going on over at pfcoutdoors.com.
that's awesome, guys. Where can they find us?
You can find us at rutriverpursuits.com. You can follow us on the Instagrams.
Yeah.
And the Facebooks. And you can also check us out on the YouTubes at Rut and River
Check
Pursuits.
out them YouTube
podcast. And follow us and check us out on all your podcast apps.
iHeartRadio, Spotify,
Apple
and
Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
That's awesome.
All your other
All right.
podcast apps too.
Thank you, boys.
Thanks, guys. Later.
I
I was going to say it.
Trash
And the quiver. I knew it.
What do you tip a Bowtech?
You always ask this question.
Yeah.
Not enough, I don't think.
I think you're right there. She loves the Techno Hunt, and she loves it. She's very competitive with that, as you might know.
No, I have never. I've never seen her rub it in your face when she beats you week to week. So. He's like, I see it down. He's like, I said, can we get down? He even though he saw it drop and basically die, he
Let's wait.
taught me, yep, hey, let's give it a half hour. And I'm in the tree, like, losing my mind. I'm like, has it been a half hour yet? And he's like, it's been 2 minutes.
It's been 30 seconds, yeah. It's very difficult because they know everything.
Yeah.
They know. And if we could smell like a whitetail, I wish I could smell like a whitetail. Maybe not so much working in the hospital, but